So, having said that, let's start our podcast. So, thank you
Absolutely.
so much to agreeing to this. And today is not only our podcast; is our inaugural podcast. Um,
Wow.
we are shooting episode 2, but we're the first. You're the first recording. So, welcome to today's episode of Tokenize. Welcome everyone. We are
Thank you
endeavored
so
in
much.
intersection of film and technology. And I'm Aneesha Reihana, co-founder of One Asset Exchange, and I take great, absolute pleasure in welcoming everybody. And today I have with me Joydeep and Shreyas, two amazing people whom I resonate with in terms of energy, in terms of the gung-ho-ness, in terms of rolling up the sleeves and trying anything and everything for a better tomorrow. So I couldn't ask for a better beginning in the way we start this about talking about the innovation and the conversions of technology, fintech, tokenization, democratizing this industry, and in very simple terms, breaking down the barrier for filmmakers to access their biggest supporters, which is the film fans. So today, let's have conversations about this. Let's not just jargons or
Sure.
real topics that matter, and topics that resonate with you, the audience, and how we got here. So before we go into the serious stuff, maybe a little introduction about both of you. We've had amazing conversation prior, but a quick introduction for the audience,
Sure.
and also
Sure.
something I always like to ask a very quirky, a very cheeky, one-liner question. So maybe I'll start with Shreyas. Shreyas,
Sure.
what got you to wake up today? What keeps you,
Oh,
on your toes?
nice. That's an interesting variant on the quirky question. Yeah? So great. Like, now, shall I start? Shall I club it with my intro,
Yeah,
or
I
can
think
I?
you know what? We're having hearing a feedback echo.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Okay for me. Nam, okay for you? Continue speaking, Shreyas.
Yeah. So what I was saying
Nam.
was, now it's perfect. Awesome. Like, I think there's a bit of a feedback loop. Fair enough. So great. Like, so hi everyone. My name's Shreyas Naik. I'm the CFO of Rock Films. And to answer your question, what got me to wake up in the morning? What got me out of that twin bed? So I would say it's about the new possibilities. Like, so it's about the new possibilities about what we can achieve today. Like, because frankly speaking, like, today was one of the rare days of sunshine. Like, I got up with sunshine in my face, and like, it's like kind of had that good feeling about something great that can be done today. Like, and of course, like, besides the regular meetings scheduled around the stuff, like, I did have the feeling about something special. Like, maybe this podcast is this, maybe it's something else. I guess we'll just find out.
Great to hear that this has got you out of your bed today. So,
Right.
thank you so much, Joy. I think you have so much of stories in your kitty with your experience. So I have to think 2-3 times harder to ask you a question now.
Just
I
go
guess
for it.
with the simplest yet most difficult question of what makes you happy?
What makes me happy is being able to get up in the morning, and I feel very blessed to do what I do. When I look back and see my journey, and I see the industry from the outside, I see so many thousands and lakhs of people wanting to get into this industry in this country, but they don't have an opportunity to be able to do that. I just feel very blessed that I've been given that chance, to contribute in my own little way, and to be very much a part of the industry. And I can certainly say today that I'm an insider. So that's what makes me happy, and that I can get up every day in the morning and feel very happy to do and privileged to do what I do.
Amazing,
So that,
amazing. I
yeah,
think
that
you're
makes me
not.
happy.
Thank you, and we are extremely happy that you're here. And I guess I wanted to add, not only are you privileged, you're also one of the veterans, and also going taking the hard path down, the difficult
Yep.
path, yet
Yeah.
succeeding. On
Yeah.
that note, probably you could share with us what does Rocked Film stands for, and what's your niche? What's Rocked Film's identity?
So basically, rock films, the metamorphosis and the genesis of rock films began in 2015 when I actually started this company primarily because my mother wanted me to do this. I was very happy in advertising. I'd taken a sabbatical because she was unwell, uh, and of course she passed post that. While she was in the ICU, I think about 3 days before she passed, she asked me, I think that you should become a filmmaker because I know you can do it. And believe me, 6 months later, I was on a flight to Mauritius to produce my first uh, Telugu film. And that's how the genesis of rock films began. And from then on, we thought that we had arrived, and everything was going to be a cakewalk because we had got our first film and all of that, and we didn't realize that it was going to be really hard. And yeah, it was hard because there was no OTT. The digital revolution hadn't happened to that extent as it is today. So we went back to our drawing boards and we decided let's do what we do best, but continue to try to do what we do in terms of create film content. So we went back to the roots of advertising, and we started doing ad commercials once again. So I'll give you an example. Before the first lockdown, we did about 40 commercials in 5 months. So that's the kind of hit rate that we had. But our genesis was that, but our renaissance began during the first lockdown, where we were able to remotely, and the OTT revolution had happened, and it was booming. We were able to crack two shows for two popular OTT platforms, and one was for Eros Now, and the other one was for Z5. And that's when the renaissance happened, and that actually catapulted us to where we are today. So that's a little bit about rock films. We are all about branded content today. We're also doing a lot of branded content. We're about doing filmed content for the web. We are also about doing OTT web originals. Whether it's in Hindi or whether it is also we are foraying into the regional space. So we are foraying into Marathi, we are foraying into Telugu, and we are foraying into Bhojpuri as well, besides
Nice,
Hindi. So that's where we
nice,
are today.
nice. We have spoken to many studios, many producers in the region. And what is phenomenal about Rocked Films is that you carry a variety of content in progress at any one point of time, which is really commendable because I think that's one of the things that creatives lack, the business
Yep.
administration and the discipline to have that cash flow to be able to produce multiple content simultaneously. So that's really commendable. So are we giving that credit to Shreyas, who is the CFO? He's the one introducing the new digital innovation, digital finance
It is.
innovation.
You should give him the credit because he's the guy who's driving this forward.
So we're going to give him the credit and the mic as well. So Shreyas, over to
For
you.
sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, so as Joydeep said, thanks a lot for the kind words. So it is it is my pleasure to be able to contribute in whatever small ways we can moving forward. And again, ultimately speaking, it's about scalability. So essentially, I've worked a lot with tech companies, tech startups, and the focus is always on scalability, how exactly we can drive in this area, which many other sectors are not able to uh, get by, but this is one of those few companies wherein the scalability principles are absolutely maxed. Of course, there is the small innovations that keep on happening, but I was really surprised, with the level of scalability, the level of content being put out there, the skin in the game, and the long term vision, which is being presented. And as a result of this, I do my best to improve it in small ways, and essentially this is how the journey has led us to.
Would you say that the changing landscape of Indian cinema, Indian film media and entertainment by large, the way the content is being consumed or distributed, would have motivated the whole administration and the back office?
I mean, absolutely. It's like content habits keep changing, very frequently. Like viewer habits, we as viewers, thanks to the internet and the digital revolution, it's like our content is very hyper customized. You guys might be twins, but the your YouTube feeds might be completely different. The level of customizability, the level of nuance which has been brought to the table is unprecedented. So of course, we being at the heart of it, we have to stay abreast of all of the changes, all of the new trends that are coming, all of the new movements that are coming, and try to make sure that that customizability is brought to the table. And Anisha, as you must be aware, not a lot of innovation has happened in the long format content. Sure, we have seen a lot of innovation in the short format content. You can interact, you can comment, you can essentially have live streams, live chats. There's so much stuff. But why? But again, we dare to ask ourselves the question, why not the same in long format? Why is it that you're not able to really give out inputs? Why is it that it's not interactive? Of course, games are one of those formats which have kind of cracked that. But again, frankly speaking, games have their limitations. Without the right stories, it's like, hey, how long are you gonna grind on an FPS for? FPS or racing game for, without the inherent story. So yes, of course, all of the changes are kind of shaping us, and we are trying to shape those changes ourselves. So it's kind of a give and take input output procedure, as we like to call it.
When you mention about all this is really heartwarming, because when we talk about technology innovation, it's always coming from the tech world. It's not advocated, or it's not easily validated from the domain world, which is the film industry. And you guys are one of the few that are walking the talk in terms of executing this innovation. So that's really commendable. And on behalf of the industry, thank you, because there's so few of you. I've worked with film producers. It's really a heavy lift that I've got to do, because they're still very fixated with the traditional mindset of just fund me, I'll take care of everything else.
Very true.
Before I can explain forward that, hey, it does not happen that way. Our world needs structure. Our world needs you to validate why you're taking this money. So, even the basic nuances, it's very difficult to penetrate to. So when you're like
Very true.
10 steps ahead, it's amazing and commendable. So on that note, Joy, go back to you of why embark on this in journey with us, because tokenization has three syllables. Before I go to the second syllable, people like stop right there. Yeah, in the crypto la venda, crypto no please, I'm like, no, it's not crypto. So we all know tokenization is about enabling, retail investors, enabling fractional ownership. But what attracted you into saying, yes, this is what I want. This is what we want for the industry to move forward. What motivated you? What was that story that pricked your heart to say yes to this?
So A was the first basic thing that drew me to this was it was something new. I've always wanted tried to do things which other people haven't tried to do. So I've always prided myself to be a disruptor and be a first mover. And I did did a little bit of research, and I realized what you just said, that the film industry in general, a they do not have the will to try and understand the Web3 space. That is one big stumbling block. And B, what you said was absolutely correct. Hey, give me the money, I'll take care of the rest of the things. It doesn't work like that. Any kind of business actually should not work like that. But sadly enough, the industry has been that way, and it's kind of shot itself in the foot. You see the kind of box office that is happening currently with all the films that are being put out over there. It absolutely validates what you're saying. Hey, give me the money, I'll take care of the rest. But the rest is not being taken care of. The monies are being drained. And so that's it, basically the problem with this industry. So when I came across this, I thought that, like I said, I want to be a disruptor. Two, I want to be a first mover, and I know that we will be a first mover, far and wide. The ones who are going to come second and third are going to be much later and far behind us. We would have crossed many finishing lines by the time the second and third guys come into the play. We also found that it is uh, a very seamless way and a transparent way of raising money. And what better way to also ensure that it's your consumers who also have basically, a vested interest in the content that you're putting out there. So therefore, this is what was the first few things that intrigued me and interested me in getting into this space. And of course, then my conversations, many long conversations with Shreyas, because he comes from the Web3 space. So it took me a little bit of time to get educated on the entire fundamentals. But I think I'm pretty much there. I do understand that's the space. But it's very interesting times for us. I'm really excited. We're really excited at what we are, setting out to do.
The fact that you said yes to this, that means you definitely get it. So
Yeah, I do. I do.
you are
Thank
there.
you. Thank
So
you.
I need to understand from Shreyas, what was the secret sauce, Shreyas? What did you say? How did you explain this to him to convince him?
So now that's an industry secret, but the thing is, frankly speaking, it was all about incentives, right? So this is something, so when I studied economics, economics is the science of incentive. How exactly do you get people to get their stuff moving? Like your first question said, what gets people getting up from their beds. So you just got to make sure that it happens for a large amount of people, and guess what, you've got a movement. So here, essentially speaking, what we have seen is legacy structures have not really come up. They have not really if that stuff was to happen over there, it would have happened a long time. But I guess that's where technology lies. And frankly speaking, once you the idea was essentially to make the viewers your stakeholders. The problem with current ecosystem is OTT ecosystems or whatever it is, viewers don't really have a way of saying hey, you know what, I am not a big fan of this. Hey, why don't you rectify this? There's no real kind of input output mechanisms. It's just a passive kind of a mechanism. Viewers are just stuck with monopolies. Let's be real, OTTs, distributors. There's not a lot of choice out there. So our idea was, hey, you know what? Why don't we create a paradigm where all of the stakeholders can own parts of the internet? So essentially, this is what we call ownership economy. Essentially, the idea came from the concept of creator economy. I was always wondering, why is the creator economy not working for the long format content, web shows, films? Why is it that they're all why is it that their monopolies are still existing? As Joydeep said, the film industry people. So that's where we found that unless the stakeholders, which are the fans, they own a part of that ecosystem, it's very difficult to get this stuff moving. And when I kind of explained to him, the ability to engage with a larger audience without a lot of without a lot of hurdles, that's where I guess the stars aligned. And that's where the stuff was able to move. I was able to move things forward. But hey, I guess you'll have to ask Joydeep personally that what actually got him to move.
I think I would like to structure the question a little bit more deeper.
Sure.
I'm sure it was motivated by challenges in the industry that he was frustrated with, right? Especially now more than ever. I don't know if you're aware, in the South, in the Tamil industry, there actually is a halt in production. No new films are allowed to go on floor because there are too many films that are stalled, stuck halfway. So they had to put that caveat. Of course, the vineyard has it that there are many other political reasons behind it, but let's take it at face value and assume that it's because they're trying to clean up all these half-done projects. So my question is, what are the challenges that the long form ecosystem has? What is the problem? What is the underlying problem that these folks are not solving? Because there's so many umpteen number of producers. There's so much umpteen number of long form content. Mass majority of it never gets completed, never goes on floor. I mean, never goes on screen. So what is the underlying problem that we're not addressing or solving?
The underlying problem is very simple. It's people trying to get into the business of filmmaking without understanding what filmmaking is all about. Today, it is essential for a producer to know all the nuances of filmmaking, whether it's technicalities, whether it's script, whether it is talent casting, and so on and so forth, and of course, budgetary issues and numbers. It's extremely important. It's not that I have an X amount in my pocket and I want to become a producer. Those days are over. But people still haven't realized that most of these people, these producers or filmmakers, come from a fundamental of being dazzled by the glamour. So they do not understand the intricacies that go into making a film. Also, interestingly, most of these filmmakers who are in various languages producing films in the long form content space, they are not from that ecosystem, in the sense that there are a lot of non-Maharashtrian or non-Tamilian or Telugu producers trying to produce films in that space. So either that's not a problem. Either you learn that language, you understand the culture, you understand the business that the industry functions in that regional space, or you don't get into it. Because I'll be very honest with you, money is not equivalent to a successful film. It's basically the vision and the understanding that makes that content happen, which is where the industry today is lacking. Therefore, you have these unfinished films because most of the producers come with half-baked knowledge and not non-understanding of what the film industry is, or what the culture of that particular language industry is, or for that matter, what goes into making a film. So that's one of the pitfalls. And you said about the Tamil industry. It is very similar in the Hindi film industry. People with money who've just come into money, they get convinced, they get taken in by the glamour. They come in with the money, but obviously they also back directors and filmmakers who do not have the intent to make these projects. There is always a thought process that, I'll make my two ends meet. So therefore you see a lot of this these kind of uncompleted projects. You also see completed projects which are terrible in terms of quality, because it is just being done for the sake of being done. And I keep receiving these kinds of content. I just received something about 3 days back, and I was appalled to see. I couldn't get past like 2.5 minutes of an episode of a 8 episode horror thriller web show. I couldn't get past 2 minutes. Completed, but terribly made, compromised. So
There was somebody who told me in one of the meetings we had. Also, another veteran in the industry, very well read, very established, both television and film. He said, Anisha, what you're doing with One Asset Movies is commendable, but don't be a revolutionary. This industry is not going to change because the mass majority enter the industry with the wrong intent. So, having mentioned, stating that, echoing that, if I gave you a magic broom today, Joy, if I gave you a magic broom and you swept away all the filth, the weed, we pulled out the weed, what will be the characteristics? What would be the traits of a successful, willing, serious filmmaker in in this industry of tomorrow's Indian cinema?
See, what is very important is, like I said earlier, for a for a producer, a filmmaker, to understand the craft is extremely important. And to understand the craft from all aspects. The classical producer filmmaker of the past is something that we continue to follow. Uh, there aren't many hands-on producers. So until and unless you become a hands-on producer, where you can double up and do the jobs of various functions that go into the aspects of making a film, right from writing a script to be able to narrate that script to an actor in case your director is unavailable at that point of time and there's a time crunch, to actually being able to understand lensing of the camera, to be able to understand shot division, to be able to understand production and budgets. Those are the aspects that go into making the correct producer and the correct filmmaker, and importantly, being able to curate the right content for the audience out there. These are the most important elements that go into making a complete filmmaker, which is sadly not there. And uh, and it gets reflected by what you just said earlier when somebody says, don't try and be try and revolutionize something which is already the way it is and it's never going to change. So that's looking at it in a very negative manner. I feel that's my personal viewpoint. Anybody's viewpoint is, they're welcome to their viewpoint, but that's not the correct way of looking at things. You need to make a small change effort for the change to begin. And if you're going to have that kind of an attitude that, oh, this thing is never going to work, then we won't be here. We won't be in the digital space. We'll be still doing black and white films, and and we'll be still wearing dhotis and kurtas, and we'll be still riding horses and bullock carts. So this is not the right approach. This is what I feel personally. This is my personal viewpoint.
I like that. I like what you said. I just wanted to add to that point of, coming from this side, the tech side, and having, of course, some experience in producing movies, being in television and movies. I just wanted to leverage on the nuances, just like Shreyas, the nuances of how we know how to do it and give it back to the creatives who are behind the cameras, behind the edit studios. Because as a content consumer, I cannot fathom the idea of only watching Marvel content. I mean, Indian cinema is advanced enough to have our own series, own brand series at that level. We have proven it with Bahubali, Ponin Selvam, RRR, started all the way with when Slumdog Millionaire, Jai Ho won, we were like, come on, that's nothing. A.R. Rahman is far better than that. So we have proven, and I think what's keeping us one step behind is lack of this administrative knowledge, lack of this knowledge, innovation knowledge from the corporate financing side to be able to gain that type of traction. So for me, that's my motivation, because I accompany my son for all these movies, and he's a movie buff. I cannot fathom going into theaters just to watch that. So this is why, what's my motivation. um, so Shreyas, on that side of topic of motivation, you come from the tech world, you come from the Web3 world. What was your motivation factor to put a pin on, let's go with micro budget movies as the scope for tokenization, for fractionalization? What was your motivation?
So essentially, Anisha, I got into the Web3 space around 2018, 2019. And that's you will be very much aware that was the shitcoin boom. Essentially, all of the assets are just pumping up, like there was no tomorrow. And the funny part is, I'd worked with startups, and I know how private equity and all is based on overvalued stuff. It's not exactly. And the thing is, there's one quote from a movie, from The Big Short, like fraud and stupidity doesn't work in the long term. Like essentially speaking, you take startup extreme startup valuations, token valuations, whatever it is, it's all crashed. It's all completely gone to shit. Of course, and so the thing is, of course, we in fact some of my friends' projects, they didn't the ones who were doing real work, they never really picked up back in those days. But 2022 was the time when crypto had a bloodbath. FTX, Luna, all of that sort of shit happened. Dark days. But the thing is, essentially, I think it kind of gave me a step back, and I was reconsidering how exactly we get a bottom line to this, how exactly we do we bounce back from this, what is the way of sustaining this growth. So that's where I was exploring a lot of projects, so that's where I discovered some asset projects, so tangible assets and likewise. And I kind of got in the rabbit hole. 2022 was a extremely bear market. There was absolutely no liquidity in the crypto market. So I worked in the assets market. I saw how exactly assets are a kind of a good benchmark for bottom line. You got a net asset value of a certain amount. Your stock's not going to fall beyond a certain percentage, something like that. So the thing is, and as I was researching into as I was in the rabbit hole of assets, I was like, why is it that this asset management player is not focusing on the intangible assets? Like tangible assets are, everyone does that, equipment, solar assets. There's so much stuff to be like. But intangible assets is the content IP, and that's where I discovered that space. And luckily, I had we ran into Joydeep as well, and the thing is, they had done their first the web show for Netflix Global for about the cryptocurrency revolution. And I believe, I was kind of researching about that same, and I was like, wait a minute, why are people not doing this? And like I said, I always had a always like to keep out for some undervalued, some good stuff. And that's where I discovered content IPs, and but at the same time, content IPs have their own problem. Movie projects, sometimes they fail, sometimes there's a lot of the other factors, and that's where we kind of decided to work out the model, the diversification, the slate, about doing several movie projects, so. To kind of reiterate a little about a micro budget film studio for the audience. So essentially, it's about a slate. It's about multiple set of projects. That way, we are essentially having diversification in the project. So of course, this is not in a different genre. This is in a similar genre of horror thriller. And the thing is, these diversification at the same time allows you to play on the larger, where you're able to play on the volumes of scale, your unit economics of scale. You're able to leverage upon that and able to essentially if you're aware of this concept of a perpetual motion machine,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you kind of put it in the motion, and it will just keep going on,
Yeah.
like an avalanche. So that, and I kind of figured, this was probably that avalanche. This was probably that small snowball which can become a big avalanche in a good way. So that's where stuff kind of move forward. And I guess here we are after a hard set of iterations, developments, commitments, and I guess that's where our offering come out to be.
Nice, nice. I like your very structured thought process and how you landed up here.
Nice.
It kind of it's validated because once again, I learned so much in the many conversations I had with many traditional producers, and one producer told me, see, why Indians love this industry is because this is the industry with the highest liquidity,
Yeah.
highest movement of liquidity. Even though they
True.
lose money, they always come back,
True.
because the rotation is the fastest here.
Correct.
So, of course, it was a learning moment for me. But then,
True.
when you average out, if the person is not smart, you
Ah.
average out, you have a double dip. But yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's the Bitcoin world of today, with the double dip downwards.
Double
But
dip downwards. Yeah.
but
Correct.
yeah, it is true. But you can only see the ROI, if you do it the right way. And I guess we've been trying so hard in explaining to creatives, the brick and mortar traditionalists, on how things are done, especially when I'm explaining fan engagement. Why I'm
Yeah.
bringing this up is because celebrities have lots of influential power,
True.
but only few know how to monetize, only few know how to convert it into a monetizable structure. And a lot of times they close the doors on us because they're too scared to take the risks. Not even off screen, even for on screen, you'll see we're in a very traditional industry where the lead actor might have a huge skin in the game in terms of the script, but he wants no skin in the game. Very few actors want skin in the game.
Absolutely.
Don't even want to talk about the actor, the directors themselves, who are the script owners. They're directing the movie. They don't want skin in the game.
True.
And I'm like, what do you mean? So
Correct.
that's when we embarked on this. I don't explain too much. I said, you know what, start small, let's roll up our sleeves and let the magic unfold. That's the only way you're going to believe that this
True.
works. So I guess on closing note, Joy, what is exciting you? What do you see 1 year from now after execution of tokenization, 1 year from now after executing this innovation in in film financing?
Uh, we are already looking at scalability from a micro budget film studio perspective. So from a year down the line, we're looking at maybe crossing boundaries to other countries. To take the same format to various regions. The MENA region being one area where Arabic content right now is again going through a renaissance because of the kind of content that is being created and the boom of the internet in the MENA region. So that's one area. Southeast Asia again yeah, is going through a renaissance at this point of time. So 1 year later down the line, we're certainly looking at scalability across borders, and also strengthening our own micro budget film studio content, homegrown content in India, strengthening that and taking it to the next level. Uh, there's already a discussion internally about transgressing from urban stories, to Hindi heartland stories, which resonate in the two-tier, three-tier towns and cities, where there is a huge internet, penetration, and that's where the numbers come from. Therefore, if you look at our state channel Doordarshan, it has far more larger numbers and reach than any of the satellite channels put together. If you put all the satellite channels put together and you put Doordarshan's penetration, they are like chalk and cheese. So the real audience is out there in the third tier ecosystem, because those numbers are there. Those numbers are there. So that's a huge audience there. So we want to transgress into that as well from a homegrown point of view. So we will continue to build this, micro budget studio from just not just telling urban stories, but also telling small town stories, Hindi heartland stories, and continue to grow both of them together simultaneously at the same time as we move along.
Nice, amazing. And Shreyas, how about you from a innovation perspective? I'm,
No, no,
I'm looking forward to passing the baton to you and molding you into becoming the next movie tokenization expert.
oh, oh, that will be lovely. Like. So the thing is, like, I would say Joydeep has covered most of the innovation aspects. Like. But again, like I said, our perspective is so wise for the ownership economy model. We are starting off with like film profits, like liquidity and all, like, but slowly we'll be moving on to other benefits, like so being able for the ability for audiences to make some suggestions, little bit of curation from their side, like the, them being able to vote on certain mechanisms, like hey, you know what, you guys want this ending, you guys want that ending, so like that creative control on from a limited perspective. So that's where we are exploring in the next subsequent phases. Probably like we could start off with like having certain set of projects. So let's say maybe one of our future states would have the audiences vote for the projects. Like hey, this is the project that sounds the most interesting to me. I would love to lock these projects in, like so something like that, like, and down the line we never know, like of course, like we would love to keep the curation very proper, very proper and structured, like but uh, who knows, like maybe in the future the DAOs might be able to make give us better creative suggestions than anyone. So like it will be truly a
Absolutely.
people told stories, like it's like the goal is to get to the heart of stories, like like what, like it's like we can see personal stories working, because in content there's like two kinds of stories that work. Stories which are extremely relatable, or stories that are extremely in the fantasy zone. Fantasy zone, I think, like a lot of the penetration has been done, like there's a quite a lot of projects, as you mentioned, RRR and the likes. But as for the extreme relatability factor, that's where there's a zone, like maybe like a show about Web3 entrepreneurs, for example. Web3 entrepreneurs have their own set of challenges. So what about content around that? What about content for people who are, let's say, filmmakers who are getting into Web3? So like this very hyper customized content, could be the future. So that's where that's where we'll be like leading our journey into.
Nice, nice. I like that point on that. And what is very exciting is that, if you said, economics, if you incentivize the decision making and who get the decision making right, you have four options for the plot twist. And
Correct.
the plot twist that gets selected, that pool of
Yes.
audience get incentivized higher than the rest. Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
imagine that
Exactly.
gameplay there. It will be phenomenal.
Correct, exactly.
That
That's where the discoverability angle will be hit. Like, because the problem is like nowadays marketing, we are kind of all become immune to shitty marketing. Marketing has to stand out. And what's better marketing than people telling, hey, you know what? There's a script suggestion I made. It
I
just got
have a
accepted.
script suggestion for you. Okay.
Sure.
Please make a short movie about the Turkish shooter. I can him, his daughter, and the cat. Please make one short film, yeah.
Absolutely, that's something that we will definitely love to consider. But
That's
in addition to the point, I think
phenomenal.
what Web3 and blockchain needs is stories of its own. Like how many people know about Web3 from a story perspective, and I think that's where I think like these two words colliding can uh, lead to the greatest impact. Like nowadays, people all they know about crypto is like, ha, funny coin, put money, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, all that sort of stuff. How about we retell the stories in good ways? And that's where our objectives are. We bring in those people, we tell personal stories, and I guess like that's where they can hit the relatability factor. So
Absolutely, absolutely. When we profile users according to their locations, the highest concentration comes from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Philippines, and Vietnam. And what these four countries have in common, the lack of proper jobs. So they turn to gaming to put food on the table.
oh
So
yes,
those are amazing behind the scenes story that needs to come to life. Because as a game maker, I always tell this on every forum, as a game maker, don't think it's a simple game when you're talking about play to earn. This monetization is putting food on the table, and that too essential staple food on the table for tier 2, tier 3 countries. So beautifully put, and I can't wait to see such movies coming to life, and we're looking forward to being part of that. So I see we're reaching almost 1 hour. Can you believe that? We can keep talking. um, and so unfortunately we have to wrap up, just for today episode. And before I conclude, Joy, when you're talking about expansion to MENA, we have an amazing award-winning filmmaker from Dubai. He makes movies for social causes. We'll be bringing him on board for one of our upcoming episodes. We will bring you in for one of the segments, and we can have like a
Sure,
table conversation, and we would love to be part of that. So,
love it.
as a wrap up, just give us some last words for this episode, Joy.
It's been a invigorating conversation. I'm always up for a good conversation, and any conversation that's got to do with content creation, I'm up for it. I'm pretty positive about what we've set out to do, and I'm very positive about what we want to build together, Anisa. To be very honest with you, because I certainly feel there's a strong synergy, between us in terms of our thought process and what we're where our mind is and where we want to get to, the end result. So I'm very positive about it, and I'm happy, that I decided to get into this space, and I'm happy that we connected. For us to be here talking about it, and I'm sure we'll have many more fables to talk about many years down the line, and that those conversations are going to be even more interesting. I'm very sure.
We'll be like, apna sonnenilla. So the matchmaker is Shreyas. He was the one who reached out and connected. So Shreyas, some closing note from you.
I would say, like, it's been wonderful, like, connecting all of us, like. So there's so much stuff has come out, like, and it's really great to see people who are on the same page, like, about like, passionate about the same things, getting the same objectives. So, like, it's been lovely, like, and as Joydeep said, like, looking forward to those interesting future conversations.
Nice, nice. Thank you. I always tell the wider audience whenever I speak about tokenization, RWA, blockchain, Web3, I always say, "Vayala vada sudada." Don't fry your vada with your mouth. Let's roll up our sleeves and get going. So that's exactly
Absolutely.
what we are gonna do. I'm so excited to work with Rock Films. So excited to give life in the token realm for your upcoming movies. We're going to continue talking about them, advocating them, and that's going to really set the stage and set the road for the entire industry as well. Thank you so much for trusting us. Thank you for coming on board for this episode. We've learned so much from you, and thank you for your enthusiasm. Definitely going to bring you back on for more episodes with more of our partners and our fellow filmmakers. Till then, I would like to thank our audience, and I would like to thank the team behind the scenes. Thank you, Namrata, our podcast coordinator. She has been working so hard to get everything up. Thank you so much, Charlie, our head of ops, for setting everything up and making sure that this happens and get going. So, like I said, working with a team of executionists, and I'm so proud to have brought all this together under the umbrella of One Asset Exchange. So, thank you, everyone. Good night and be safe.
Thanks, Anisha.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Thank,
Anisha. Pleasure.
thank you. Thank you.